Hey y'all, a fun one this time. Palmetto State Armory, which I usually don't really shop too much at, but I was browsing some gun deals as you do, and one of the things that came up was this RXP22, and this is a Retay RXP22, I should say. This is a Turkish-produced little 22 LR handgun, hammer-fired, optics ready, threaded barrel, all that stuff, and I thought these looked pretty cool because it reminded me basically of my Springfield XDE in a way, but it also has like some SIG lines, and it's just kind of like an amalgamation of a lot of, I guess, overall different kind of generic pistol designs all mashed into one. And I thought it looked like a pretty handsome pistol, to be honest. Like, it looks like a decent size and everything. And I'll be honest, I actually, I was thinking these were actually going to be a little bit smaller than they were. I thought this was going to be more like a Walther P22 size. So for comparison's sake, I got my Walther P22 here and the Retay RXP22. And you can see they are significantly different in terms of size. I mean, look at that. Just the sheer bulk of the RXP22 is it's pretty significant, and of course the width and everything else. Like that's a big chunky pistol, It kind of mimics more like your full size service pistols. So I guess if you're used to things like the FN 502 or the SIG 322, things like that, this is kind of more in that form factor than your little tiny 22s like the Walther P22. So it has some SIG-like lines. So I got my 226 here, and you can kind of see, a little bit of the kind of design philosophy, aesthetics, I guess, behind it, especially in the slide. With that top like kind of ridge there that goes to the front. It's got kind of a similar vibe, and of course they're both hammer fired and very similar in terms of slide thickness. You can see there, and overall kind of thickness of the whole guns themselves, you can see right there. But yeah, it's it kind of reminds me of a 229 when I think about it, or like a P6 or a 225. So just some comparisons, to get an idea of just the size profile of this. So why did I even pick this up in the first place? I mean, I thought Palmetto State Armory had them for like $200 or something like that, super cheap. And I've been pretty impressed by some of the stuff that's coming out of Turkey, and I also liked the fact that it was optics ready. So you can see right there, it's got the optics plate, and this is both RMR and RMSC compatible. And they even give you the little plate for it too, which is made out of the cheapest metal possible, I'm sure. But for a 22, you don't really need a whole lot, so that's pretty cool. And I thought, well, I don't really have like a quote-unquote traditional optics-ready 22 pistol. The only ones I have are pretty much like the Ruger Mark IV, which is just a big honking pick rail stuck to the top of the gun. So I wanted something a little more, I guess, modern in that way, more traditional, I guess. So I figured, why not? Let's give it a shot. Like, what's the worst that $200 could be for a little 22 pistol like this? So for other features too, I will say the double action on this is absolutely unusable. It's probably over 20 pounds. I can't do it with one hand at all. Like, I'm really struggling to pull that. The double action is unusable on this gun, and a lot of people would say like the double action on the P22 is pretty bad, and arguably it is. The RXP22 is even worse than that, 100% worse than that. Borderline, well, not borderline, it is unusable. So do not consider this a double action, single action gun. It's not. It's you will be firing this as a single action gun, trust me. There also is no decocker on this gun. There's only the manual safety here, which can be flipped on, and you can still operate the action and cock the gun. All it does is just disable the trigger. There is no decocker, and the safety, honestly, I think is backwards, if you ask me. So the if you look at it, right, so the lever is currently up, and it's got the white dot, which means it's on safe. Can't pull it while the trigger doesn't do anything, right? When it's down, that's fire. To me, that's backwards, and also too with my grip and how my thumb is, it tends to kind of ride against that part right there. So when I get a good firing grip, you can see right there, my thumb, the top knuckle of my thumb right there, is pressing up against the safety. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I actually did have once where I was trying to go fast with this, and on the draw, I inadvertently flipped up the safety. And you can also see there the safety also hyperextends past what it's supposed to be, which is, you know, a little annoying. You pull the trigger and it'll go back to where it's supposed to be, but doesn't exactly scream quality or well thought out, if you ask me. So there is no real positive detent on this. I mean, it will click into position, but it's very loosey-goosey and can basically be ignored for the most part. So I never use a safety on this. There's no really point to it. But yeah, no decocker either. So if you do want to decock it safely, of course, do not dry fire this. It is a rimfire pistol, and it even says in the box that it comes with do not dry fire this. So you'll have to hold the hammer and pull the trigger and let it go safely. So. I do wish it was more like a decocker rather than just your usual kind of manual safety here, which is, again, superfluous and in the wrong direction, if you ask me, but oh well. Now, cool thing about this, though, one, it does have a threaded barrel, but it's different from other 22s in the sense that your more traditional style 22s like this have to have a threaded barrel adapter, right? This one does not. So you can disassemble this whole gun and reassemble it without having to take off the thread protector or any kind of thread adapter, which I think is a neat feature and a little bit product improved. It is a absolute pain in the ass, though, to get this slide back on the gun, you know, with the thread protector on, but it is possible. It's just a little finicky. But it is a welcome feature, though, to see that is possible. So a little bit better there. The magazines as well are also pretty interesting because they remind me a lot of like airsoft magazines, but like in a good way. So these things are big hunks of cast metal. If you remember, like, you know, your Hot Wheels and things like that, it has the same kind of feel and consistency, kind of weightiness to them. They don't necessarily scream like super duper durable magazines, but they do advertise in their marketing for these pistols, which, by the way, they did a lot of marketing for this gun. They advertise these things as being drop free, you know, drop them on the ground, you know, do your quick tactical reloads and drop them out of the gun, you know, do all that stuff. So they always say that, you know, this pistol is meant to be like a training pistol, right? So during your training, you're going to do your fast tactical reloads, drop your mag, put a new one in, and that's exactly what the weight of these things is really meant to do. So these things weigh quite a bit. I mean, it's a solid chunk of metal, you know, but it's the usual kind of cheap cast metal, so nothing really to write home about. However, I will say these things hold 13 rounds. It would be nice if they hold 15 because I like you know, multiples of 5 myself, but you know, whatever. They did advertise that they were going to have like your 18 round magazines, 10 round magazines. I just haven't seen those personally. And then when you try to access the Retay USA, like kind of like accessory web shop, they said that they're closed and they're going to be opening it soon. So I don't know what's going on there, but you know, probably more just import issues. But as it is, these are 13 round magazines, and I've had absolutely zero failures at all with this gun, which is really awesome, actually, considering what it is and how cheap it is and everything. And yeah, it's kind of an unknown. Like, people don't really know too much about Retay, and then the things I did look up on Retay, they're really more known for their shotguns rather than a pistol. So this is pretty cool that their first kind of venture into the pistol realm has been, at least as far as my experience has been, pretty successful. So I have done plenty of full magazine +1 tests with all different kinds of ammo, subsonic rounds, supersonics, and everything in between. And I've had no issues with this gun that was not ammo related. So, and by that I mean like trying to run like underpowered ammo that won't like cycle the action. I mean, I've got some subsonic rounds that won't even cycle the P22, right? So if it won't cycle that, it surely will not cycle this gun. What else to say? So the slide is, of course, aluminum. Just like most 22s that are built like this, the slide will be aluminum. This is no different because the weight has to be down a certain point for the simple blowback action to work properly, of course. Suppressed, this thing actually works very, very well. I've had so much success with this thing. In fact, most of the rounds I've put through it, I've probably got about 500 rounds through this thing now. Most of my runs have been suppressed out of this with my Silencer Co. Warlock 2. A very basic suppressor, but I actually think it works better with the suppressor on it, and because I think it creates like more back pressure, I guess, into the action to make it cycle a little bit better. So to me, it just feels better. and it's very, very quiet. So you know, when I'm at the range and I'm shooting at my suppressor either with subs or supers, the most sound that I hear is literally the slide. You know, like that clanging sound is really more what you hear than anything else, which I think is pretty cool. It gives this gun a kind of like a unique rapport, I guess, and unique sound when you're firing it. Like you hear the aluminum clang against the barrel there, so pretty cool, honestly. I would say as far as like the trigger too, like it's unusual. I will say that. So they say it's a flat face trigger. I mean, it is pretty flat. I wouldn't say necessarily it's like the flattest trigger I've seen, but I am not a fan of flat triggers in any way, shape, or form. Because personally, for me, I just feel like my finger kind of slips on the trigger face a little bit, and it's hard to get like an even, consistent pressure on them. But that's just me. This one is no exception, of course. But I have found that the single action trigger pull on this, I'm not going to pull it all the way through because I don't want to dry fire it. But the I've found the most success, like accuracy-wise, consistency-wise, by pulling at the very bottom of the trigger shoe, because this is not a light trigger at all. I mean, we're probably thinking like, I would say maybe 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds for the single action, which is not light at all, especially for a 22 target pistol like this. Yeah, well, I guess you could argue if it is a target pistol or not, or just a trainer, but still, the trigger pull is a little bit heavier than I'd like it to be, personally. It's absolutely nothing to write home about. However, I have gotten some pretty good accuracy with it, and if I do want to go fast, I absolutely can go fast, because the reset's really not that bad, to be honest. I won't demonstrate it here on camera, but take my word for it, the reset's actually it's decent. It's decent. So what else? So the iron sights on this, of course, are also you got a fiber optic front, which is, I would say, not too bright, and a kind of fixed rear sight here, but they do have little notches here in the optics plate itself. I don't know if this will come up on camera. It's really hard to see, but if you look closely, there are notches there that indicate how far left and right you can go, and of course you can loosen your screw here and kind of punch the rear sight left and right for windage as appropriate. I will say for elevation, this thing is absolutely awful in terms of being calibrated well. So tiny little like low sights like this are okay, I guess, but in terms of like where the point of aim, point of impact is, this thing is way off. In terms of elevation, windage is perfect. Elevation, way off. And I'm talking even like at 7 yards, 10 yards, 15, 25, right? This thing is just way too low, way too low. That's because the sights are also too low. You'll see a lot on like target pistols and other 22s, right? I mean, look at the height of the sights on the P22, right? These are way higher than the ones on the RXP. And there's a reason for that. So I'll show some targets here, and this one here. So we have 28 shots here. This is when I was doing my full mag plus 1 test, so 14 and 14, which is 28. 28 rounds here at 15 yards. I had to aim, point of aim was right here at the center, and you can see it's hitting all the way down here. And this is, of course, with just some bulk, like Federal Auto Match or whatever, some bulk ammo, or Federal Champion, something like that. But you can see pretty acceptable accuracy, to be honest. And I was not going slow with this at all. It was like, get sight picture, boom, pull the trigger, right? So this was not like taking my time or anything. 15 yards, 28 shots. Hey, not bad at all. But of course, again, the elevation issue. I have to aim all the way up here, which is pretty bad, honestly. It's kind of annoying, to be honest, as well. At 25 yards, it gets even worse, of course, because of bullet drop. So here we have 10 shots of, I want to say, CCI standard, maybe? So even slower stuff than bulk ammo, right? Because it's subsonic. I had to aim all the way up here, like not aiming at the center here at the red. I had to aim all the way up here, so whereas my iron sight was basically covering this entire circle here. And of course, you can see the majority of shots were hitting down here. So minus a few flyers, the accuracy I would say is actually pretty darn good for something like this. This is not a Ruger Mark IV. It's not a Browning Buckmark. It's not a Smith & Wesson, whatever, like target pistol. This is definitely a I guess service pistol kind of analogy, service kind of thing, trainer, I guess, right? So it's not meant to be a target pistol. So even with these minimal sights, I guess, that are not regulated very well, I was still able to get some pretty decent accuracy, provided I have a good aiming point. So all that being said, the this gun is I would say pretty feature rich. It's definitely modern, that's for sure, and it could be better. But you know, considering the price point that this came in, and also the paint job and everything else, and just like the marketing for this gun, like I mean, I was honestly kind of impressed with the box even, right? So here's a picture of the box that comes in, all right? Got your nice little sleeve here with your box and everything, and you know, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So I really like some of the certain features about this. So again, like the threaded barrel adapter here, not having to come off of the barrel to disassemble the gun. That's a nice feature. The controls and everything kind of mimic a regular service pistol sidearm, I guess. And yeah, trigger is okay. Safety is I could do without, to be honest. I'd rather they just get rid of it entirely. There's no reason for this gun to be double action because the double action is literally unusable because it's so heavy. So of course this doesn't have any place as a I don't know, carry sidearm of any way, shape, or form. There are much better options for that. That being said, of course you could carry it cocked and locked if you really wanted to. I don't know why you would ever do that because this thing is just way too big and trigger's kind of crap. For that kind of thing, so I don't really see people doing that, which is fine. But you know, overall, as a complete package here for $200 from PSA, and they have all different kinds of models. Like they have ones with and without threaded barrels, all kinds of different colors and everything else. This one is, of course, a nice OD green. I'm not sure if that comes up very well in this lighting, but this is definitely a OD green, and I think it's a very handsome, good-looking pistol, and it feels good in the hand. You know, when you are shooting it, even though, like I said, the trigger is not that great, it actually feels decent enough when you're shooting it. It's not the best trigger I've had, but it's serviceable. And of course, you know, reliability, pretty good, honestly. The only issues I've had are of course ammo related, so can't really blame the gun on that. But it has fed everything that I've put through it, and works very well with the suppressor that I have. And you know, I definitely am going to use this as a optics test bed here because I like the fact that it can fit RMR and RMSC. That's pretty cool. So any kind of optics I want to try out, you know, if I don't want to take it off, or I don't want to take off the optics on my other pistols, just to try something to see like the optic clarity, how it shoots and everything, right? I can put it on this pistol and give it a whirl. So that's pretty cool and pretty, I would say, a good use case for something like this. I'm sure if there are people out there who have their SIG P322s and your FN502s, this is pretty much going to fit the same use case, right? Or POU if you watch Nothing Fancy. So, but overall, honestly, I'm very impressed with this Retay RXP22. There's not a whole lot of reviews on these things out right now because these are you know brand new, and I have a feeling that PSA kind of has some importer like exclusivity with these things too, because I haven't seen them available anywhere else, at least at the time of making of this video. So yeah, it's a good little gun. I'm actually quite happy with it, and definitely worth the $200. And certainly, you know, I would say better than the Walther P22. As long as this thing has been around and how much they're still charging for those, I would rather get a RXP22 over the P22, honestly. Just because of all the features and everything else that it comes with, and you know, it's a good-looking gun. Kind of fills your hand a little bit better. Feels more like an adult pistol rather than a P22, which is itty bitty, teeny tiny. Kind of feels like almost feels like a toy in some cases. But yeah. Anyway, you know me. I like a good 22, especially when they're cheap and they shoot well, just like this one. So I am quite thrilled with how this has turned out. So I will definitely try this out with a optic later when I get an optic in for this, and give it another whirl and see what kind of accuracy I can squeeze out of this. Because you know, like I said, the results that I've shown you previously on just those two targets. I mean, I've shot plenty of other targets since then, but I've been definitely impressed by just the accuracy I've been able to get with this gun, despite the sights and everything else, the trigger, everything else. It's just been working good for me. So you know, one good turn deserves another. So I will absolutely put an optic on here and just see what kind of accuracy I can squeeze out of this thing, because I don't know, I'm excited. It's just fun to shoot this gun, and really, you know, what more do you want out of a $200 pistol? If it's fun, if it works, hey, you know, I think he came out on top. So, yeah, definitely recommend these little RXP22s. I hope everybody else that tries these has as good experience as I have, because I like seeing new things like this kind of succeed and take off, and because that means they're gonna hopefully add more models, different editions, special stuff like that, and they keep importing these, and hopefully the business is successful because. Me personally, I don't really care where the firearm comes from. If it's good and it's a good value, hey, it works for me. It just means that if the American companies want to compete, they got to make something good at a reasonable price point. So competition, right? It's all about competition. So anyway, but yeah, I still got to bring that one to you guys because there's really not a whole lot of videos on these things or talking really a whole lot about them. Most people are just doing like kind of first looks and like, oh, it's brand new or whatever, but they haven't shot it or anything. So. I've definitely shot this quite a bit. Like I said, about 500 rounds. Most of it's suppressed. So, yeah, I like it. So, I hope you guys do too. And if you guys go and get one, PSA has them, of course. I figure at some point, some other places will probably have them as well. But for right now, it's PSA. So, But anyway, yeah, I figured I'd bring it to you guys, and hopefully other people who are curious about this gun can see the review as well. So I will have a part 2 where I will be mounting an optic to it, and we'll see what we can do. But for now, that's all I got, and we'll see you next time.